Good afternoon. I am sitting down here in my studio and I have got a tool that needs to be sharpened. So I figured I'd turn on the camera and explain to you how I sharpen tools. First, I'd like to say that I am not a professional tool sharpener. I only use the tools and I do what works for me. So this may not be the proper way to sharpen tools. I'm no expert in that, but I just do what works for me. So first, here is my carving tool. It is my V-gouge tool. See if I can get it to focus on it. You can kind of see. It's a V-gouge tool. And this is what I use for 90% of the marks that I make. So what you'll need to sharpen it is a whetstone. And so I've got my whetstone. I've had it soaking in water for about 10 minutes now. And so I've got my carving tool, and it's in pretty bad shape. It's impossible to see that on the camera. So I drew up this little thing on my iPad to kind of show you what I have. Right now my edge looks like that. It's got chunks missing out of it. It's pitted. So my goal is to go through 3 steps. I'm going to take it from that roughness to that roughness, and then I'm going to polish it off to hopefully a very smooth edge. So to do that, all you need is this whetstone. This whetstone has 2 sides. It's got a coarse side. Let's see. A coarse side and a smooth side. Your whetstone might be slightly different. And I'm just going to, I'm going to pull it back. I'm not going to push forward. I'm just going to pull back, go in one direction a couple times. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I count along so I can do both sides at about the same amount. And I'm just going to do that until it feels right, and then dunking it back in the water every now and then. I've got water in this bucket until I get to a point. So I'll skip ahead to when I'm at a good point. All right, so I'm at a point where all the pitting and everything is there's no big chunks in the edge. Just it's all kind of a uniform chipped look. So I'm going to move to the fine side now. And I don't like to stay very long on the coarse side because it eats away at the metal more, obviously, because it's coarse. So I'm just going to move to the fine side, and I'm going to, same thing, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm just going to work back and forth on this tool, pulling in one direction, holding at the angle that it's already, sharpened to. I'm not looking to reshape this tool. I'm just looking to hone it. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm just going to go back and forth until it looks pretty good. All right, next, after I am done with the fine side of my whetstone, I'm going to run, and I'm going to get some, this is 1000 grit wet or dry sandpaper. You can find this at pretty much any hardware store or any home improvement store. Next, I'm going to do the same exact thing now with the 1000 grit sandpaper, and this is in an effort to polish it. Pulling back, seven, 8, 9, 10. Same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just moving back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Dip it in the water to get the residue off. And one more on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now I have a perfectly sharpened carving tool. Now I'm going to test it out. I've got a piece of scrap birch here, which is what I use for most of my carvings nowadays. That I'm going to, just give it a test on. So I'm going to, go with the grain a couple strokes. And then, most importantly, I'm going to go against the grain to see if it splinters it off at all. And let's see. You can see that it carved it perfectly and it didn't splinter off any of the little pieces that I have in between. Now I'm kind of going to do a little curved line to see if it carves cleanly. And then I'm going to do the same curved line but go in the opposite direction. And once again, you can see that it hasn't splintered off any of the little pieces that are in the center there. So my tool is perfectly sharp, and I have brought it from a very coarse finish to a very, and you can't, it's going to be impossible for me to show it you on the camera, but it is very, very smooth at the moment. So that's how I bring the tool back to life. And as far as care goes, while I'm carving, I've got this, it's called a slip strop, I think is what it's called. It's made by Flex Cut, and I'll put a link in the description to where you can grab one. It comes with this yellow compound that you rub on the back leather. That's just a, while I'm carving, I'll kind of just do this to polish it. And that has the same effect as the 1000 grit wet dry sandpaper. It's just kind of a little easier to achieve. I don't think it's removing any of the metal. I think it uses the compound to kind of fill the gaps and to polish it at times. But that's how you can keep it. That's how I keep my tools sharp enough as I'm working. But eventually you will need to, re-sharpen your tools using a stone. These slip straps have another side, which I recently learned you really shouldn't be doing this, using the shaped bits. This is a triangle, and I've used it quite a bit, but using that to sharpen the inside of your tool, because it gives a counter bevel to the bevel that is on the outside of your carving tool. And you don't really want a counter bevel, because that's not gonna really do you any benefit when you're carving. You just want that to be a nice outside bevel to carve nice and smooth. Some of you might be asking, well, that's great, you sharpened a V-gouge. How do you sharpen like a U-gouge tool? And a U-gouge tool, the only difference is it's shaped like a U rather than a V. So I can help you with that too. This tool, actually, I haven't sharpened in a long time, and it carves okay. It might tear as I go across. It's working pretty fine right now, but I'm probably working more than I need to. I'm going to go through the exact same steps that I did before, but I'm just going to slowly rock my tools back and forth. As I pull it back, instead of counting, I'm not going to count. I'm going to start, on one side, and I'm going to rock it back to the other side, and then I'm going to rock it back to the first side that I started on. And I'm just going to, kind of do that until it feels good. And then I'm going to run through the same steps that I did from coarse to fine to this polished 1000 grit sandpaper until my tool is 100% sharp. So it's no different. The steps are no different. It's only the motion that you do. You just kind of rock your tool back and forth. Not as you pull it back, but before. So you're going to, put it down like this. Let's see. You're going to put it down on one side and then just rock your tool every time you pull it in the air. So I've gone through the process of sharpening this tool. And it's working quite nicely. And Marty's coming to say hello to everyone. So that's how you can sharpen your tools with using, a $10 stone and a $5 pack of sandpaper. It's not hard. You don't need to send them off. It's actually quite easy. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned something. And happy carving.